I am standing here on a piece of property that God has placed before our church. There is other property for sale around Concord. Some of it is going for approximately $100,000 an acre, or even buildings that are selling for $1 to $2 million. Originally, the owner of this property started out at $750,000. This property consists of 5 acres with approximately 450 feet of road frontage on a main state road here in Concord. The property backs up to a beautiful river that separates us from the next town. With the cost of property around here, God has led us to this piece. The owner is offering this property and this building to us for $326,000. This building is a 3,000 square foot metal building that would need to be renovated inside to be used as a church. We would need an additional $125,000 to renovate inside to be able to use the building. There is no place around Concord that we would be able to have these facilities for $450,000. I know the property needs to be cleaned up. I know there's a lot of things here. I'm reminded when I look at this property of how God looks at us. How that when He saw us, we needed to be cleaned up. We need to be purchased, and we have been with the precious blood of Christ. Our desire and burden is that this property would be used the same way, that it would be purchased, that it would be fixed up, it would be cleaned up, it would be used for the glory of God to see souls saved and lives eternally impacted here in Concord, New Hampshire.
Hello, my name is Pastor Chris DiGiacomo. For the past 6 years, I've pastored Lifeline Baptist Church located in Haverhill, Massachusetts. 4 years ago, our church was the recipient of a good amount of money to purchase a building from other independent Baptist churches. And since that time, our church has tripled in its attendance. There's just something to be said for having your own building, particularly here in New England. For the past 2 years, it's been my privilege to know Pastor Peter Chamberlain of Granite State Baptist Church, and I've just been very excited with the energy and zeal he's bringing to the ministry, and just how God's been growing that new church plant. People are getting saved, and they're in need of a building, and God has provided a facility that will meet their needs now and in the years to come. And I just ask that you prayerfully consider getting behind Pastor Chamberlain and Granite State Baptist Church and supporting them financially to help them purchase this building. I know that if they're able to get into this facility, that they're just making more room for God to bring in more people. There will be more souls saved, and you can have a part of that by joining with them financially. Please prayerfully consider doing so.
Hello, my name is Pastor Alan Morrison, Calvary Baptist Church of Woodsville, New Hampshire. Being someone who grew up in the southern part of the country, I know what it's like to go through cities and see church after church. And I'm also fairly new to New England. I've had the opportunity to see several towns, large and small, where there's no Baptist church at all, not even a liberal church, but there's just such a great need in small towns, large towns, for an independent Baptist church that'll stand for the truth and preach the gospel. That's exactly what God has done with Pastor Chamberlain, brought him to a very strategic point in New England where he can be a blessing not only to the city of Concord, but to small churches all around New England who can need that encouragement, that help, and that fellowship with one another. It's been a great blessing to be a part of this and to be an encouragement to help him get this church started, as well as then to see it growing. And now they're in this new need of a new building. So what a wonderful opportunity it is to see the gospel spread in this area where revival started, and where I believe they can start again if we have the people that will preach the Word of God.
I am thankful to the God of heaven to be a part of this presentation today and to share with you about what God is doing here in New England, and in particular in Concord, New Hampshire, at the Granite State Baptist Church. Their pastor, Pastor Peter Chamberlain. God has been doing a great work. I've been privileged to preach at the Granite State Baptist Church. Just recently, preached a missions conference, and how exciting and refreshing it was to see God moving in their midst. The church is growing, the Spirit is vibrant, and the Lord is doing a great work. But now comes an interesting possibility for this church. They have an opportunity to purchase their own building and their own land. Obviously, the costs are high, but if all of us can get together, that is, all of us churches that believe the Bible and believe in what God is doing here in New England, if we can get together and share not only prayerfully but also financially, this possibility can become a reality. May God help us to all rally around Pastor Peter Chamberlain and the Granite State Baptist Church and see this property purchased for the glory of God.
We are asking if you would prayerfully consider helping us with the purchase and renovation of this building and property. What a testimony it would be as God's people from across the nation would come together for this church building to be built in a region that is so dark and hard to the gospel. Would you help us and do what you can financially for God's church to have a home in Concord, New Hampshire?